Guys, beer, sports. Join Sean and Brad as they talk about sports and share a beer. From the east coast of Canada to the west coast of the United States. Over to you, boys.
Hey everybody, welcome to Guys Beer Sports. My goodness, we are sans Brad today. Brad is a special human being. He's decided to help a friend move between state lines. That is some serious friend brownie points. I don't know. What do you think there, Reed? So we are joined by Reed right now. This is a terrible segue, but we're joined by Reed. You should come to expect this from me. I never do the intro. I'm the guy who usually says hi. But Reed, how's it going? Do
you want me to do the intro?
Oh, we're already in now, buddy.
No, I can just do it. Hey, it's Reed Homer, and I'm joined by this bumbling idiot over here. I know you came for Brad. He's not going to make it. Not going to make it. He heard the topics for the day, and he was thinking about jumping down a set of stairs. But fortunately, he was able to get a good deed in, and that gave him a good excuse to not be here and talk hockey. So.
I know every time I see him talk hockey, his eyes glass over a little bit. It's
when the Kraken gets going, I think Brad's gonna be Mr. fucking hockey.
Listen, it's not 100%. Even fair. It's not even fair because they're going to be able to pick and pilfer what they want and have this automatic playoff team right off the bat.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
but
saying?
That aside though, like Brad is such a loyal Seattle dude. Like he's gonna buy in immediately, and he's gonna bite hard on it. And he's he doesn't want it. He doesn't want that. I'm sure he doesn't want that. Like he doesn't need more shit to be thinking about. But that's exactly what's gonna happen. He's gonna have like 9 sweaters. He's gonna be referring to it as the dressing room and the barn and everything like that. He's gonna pick up some French, probably.
just to learn a couple things here and there. Yeah. Man, I'm just thinking to myself, once he's in there in the Climate Pledge Arena, because what a terrible name for an arena. What a terrible name.
Corporate sponsorship has just ruined sports like to such a high degree. It's some of them are disgusting. Like, the Bruins used to play in the old Busch Gardens. Then it was the Fleet Center, and those were fine. Like something about those names was just like it's fine, right? But then TD Bank North Garden, like that, it's atrocious. Well, why are we going to that TD Bank North Garden? We just say the Garden up here, but
because everything's been the Garden over there. That's the thing.
You've had Garden.
Yeah,
there's no fucking trees over there. It doesn't make any sense.
I was just funny because it's been TD Bank North for a long time now, and we're talking about a Canadian bank that moved down there and ended up buying the rights on the Boston Bruins and Celtics where they play as well. So, I mean, that's kind of cool. But I'm pretty sure that nobody knows what TD stands for there, right? It's just a bank. It's just some bank over there.
Total disaster.
Toronto Dominion, buddy. Toronto Dominion.
Oh, thank God.
Mm-hmm. Did you hear Brad? You know what Brad called cats?
No.
Serial killers.
That's accurate.
He goes, has your cat killed more than 3 things?
Yeah.
It's a serial killer.
100%. Yeah, we let a serial killer into our house, and it's like one of the most dangerous creatures. The only advantage is they're small.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my. Yeah, no, Brad is helping somebody move interstate here, but I got probably the best person to be talking about the subject we're to be talking about today. And also just about the whole entire subject all across these sports here, because coming up next week, we have the NFL draft. NHL draft will be happening after the playoffs and everything coming up. So with that happening, right now we're looking at the Canadian Hockey League, 2 major organizations that really are feeders to the NHL, which is the WHL and the OHL, pretty much not having a season yet again. The QMJHL, the Quebec Major Juniors, are having a season. This is going
to talk about bad names. The QMJHL it's a terrible acronym. You know what I mean? Just call it the Quebec League, QHL.
I don't know why they've went that way. The Quebec Major Juniors. It's been that forever, right? But
it's the most Quebec thing you could do. They're fucking jerks. It's absurd.
You know, we have a lot of listeners that are Quebecers, from Montreal, and
I love the people, but the decision making over there is out to lunch. So I'm talking about the brass, the upper management.
Yeah, but I'm impressed that they're at least going that way. Now, here's the thing: so scouts now are going to have a look at basically a very small sample size, because you got the Frozen Four that happened there in college, right? In the NCAA.
Oh yeah.
So you had your NCAA ice hockey championships there. The Q was going to be going. But let's face it, the whole entire Canadian Hockey League last year was shut down. So this is another year of not looking at any talent whatsoever. So now you got to be assessing whatever that you saw the year before. Let's face it, a lot of talent comes out of the OHL.
Look at that one draft class. We were talking about this draft class last time I was on Tyler Sagan and Taylor Hall. You know, you got the Spitfires and where did Sagan come from?
The London. Oh my gosh, this is terrible.
What kind of Canadian are you? Unbelievable.
Oh my God, London Knights.
London Knights, yeah.
Yeah, London Knights. This guy, you're trying to pour my beer.
The guy upstairs will let me.
Trying to pour my beer here. What are you doing to me? Yeah, I like to get that little bit of beer off the tip of the can. You know what I mean? Because it's just it's such good flavor.
Ooh, hey now. All right.
Such good flavor. Such good flavor. Look at all the head on this.
Right off the tip. But this is getting very sexual.
Just because of what's happening with COVID.
Portland Winterhawks.
Oh my gosh! Look at you.
Well, well, I think we're answering the question here why that league's not happening. You know what I mean? Canada's very xenophobic. You guys hate Americans, and it makes sense. I get it.
That's what we have you here, Reed.
Canada.
Because my question to you is, when you have a look at this right now, I mean, this is a reason why OHL, WHL, hockey, in the NHL and the Canadian division, we're having probably one of the worst things to ever happen as far as just teams having to shut down for that amount of time and just start picking back up again. Does it make you sit there and wonder to yourself, okay, because to me, I mean, we're looking at how the U.S. handled the pandemic and we're looking at how Canada handled the pandemic.
You can't say the U.S. We're heavily divided on how we handled the pandemic.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, right now, is that the U.S. pretty much, from what I can see, and trust me, it's just very limited, but what I can see, it's you guys are open for business right now. You guys are having, you have people going into sporting events, you have things that are open. We're here, we're about to do another major shutdown all the way through. And it's just okay. It just begs the question, this disease is so communicable. It's so easily to catch. It's easy, right? What was the right way? Because right now we're now suffering this backlash of what's happening. You guys are getting the vaccines out at a crazy rate.
Yeah.
And did you hear that story in the NHL that they were saying the teams that are in the U.S. that the NHL was saying that nobody will get the shots until every team can get it, because up here in Canada, we don't have that warp speed that's going on. And it's is it fair to these American teams who can get these shots go out? Because right now they're under that same draconian law that they can't go out to suppers. They can't do anything, right? They're stuck in their hotel, and they can't go anywhere. They can just order in, everything like that, in order to stop contact tracing. The least amount of places that you go, you're not going to be able to you're not susceptible to catch COVID. So they're under some draconian laws. And meanwhile, though, their mental health, because let's face it, these are young people that are playing over there as well. Their mental health is suffering. And they're being told in the U.S., you got to wait because they're trying to sell it as it's a competitive edge for you guys to get the shots before the Canadian division does. You guys will have a competitive edge. I don't know about that. I mean, I think that people in Canada, like the Canadian division, will probably say, go ahead, let them get the shot so they can at least continue with their lives. We'll get ours eventually. So, I mean, it's just amazing how much COVID has influenced our whole entire society in sports right now.
You said a lot there. Yeah. I think the kids are fine, with the internet and stuff like that. I can imagine back in like 1992 or something like that, having a bad time being locked in the fucking house because no internet, no porn, all that good stuff. What am I, 5 for 5 now? Last 5 episodes bringing up pornography. You got Grubhub. Every restaurant in town here does delivery and takeout now, which is fantastic. They've all pivoted, to sustain. They deliver beer to our houses, so it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
But it's tough, right? I'm in Massachusetts, and we put down some serious regulations and restrictions and stuff like that. And now we're opening back up. We put in the legwork. We did what we had to do. And now the vaccine's being doled out like crazy. We have one of the big vaccination centers right around the corner from my house at Lowell General Hospital.
Right. And,
which is a big volunteer effort. People are volunteering there, just getting this done. So it just shows a lot of buy-in. And everyone down here is like really trying to do what they can to get over this thing. Because we want to get back to fucking, barbecues and casual encounters that lead to sex with strangers. That's what we're up to down here. I know Wholesome Canada doesn't know anything about that. So, you ask most people down here, I haven't gotten my vaccine yet, and I'm not looking forward to it because I know so many people have gotten sick. So is it an advantage? I don't know. I know people that are like dealing with this, the fallout of that vaccination for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. I got the first shot finally this week. My arm is still in pain. It's but overall I feel pretty good. The thing is,
I'm amazed the needle was even. I'm amazed the needle was even able to get through your skin. No, sorry, we call it a hide. Your hide.
My hide. There we go. There we go. Like a rhino.
I know. Bovine creatures have hides, not skin.
You imagine somebody wearing me? That's disgusting.
I'm planning on it. I'm waiting for you to go already.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna have myself a Valancourt trench coat. I'm gonna make a duster out of you.
So Robin Lehner is the one that ended up coming out because he's been suffering with mental health issues, right? And he was stating about how it's not right that the teams in the U.S. can't, because right now warp speed is going down in the U.S., that they can't get the shot because the NHL has deemed that it's a competitive advantage. So I'm just like, I don't know if I agree with all this, and I'm just wondering.
So here's the thing that I could say, at least in America, with HIPAA laws down here, how would your employer even know if you got the shot? Right? So you could go get the vaccine and you don't have to tell a damn person about it. So, that whole thing's ridiculous. Nicole just went and got it. She didn't have to inform her employer about it. You know what I mean? And legally, I don't think the employer can even fucking ask because of HIPAA laws. So it's like, that'd be like them asking me if I have breast cancer, like.
But the employers will actually give you time off for it though, as well, eh? Like,
if you wanted it.
Yeah.
If you made them aware, but
yeah.
If I had breast cancer, I chose not to tell them.
Yeah.
How would they know? So we have it available down here. There's nothing stopping any of these kids from getting the shot. What are they going to do?
Yeah, but
how do they enforce a rule like that?
With the NHL though, it's because you are confined to where you are, right? Like the NHL is kind of like
sure, that's part of your job. I was confined to a fucking ship with you because I chose a certain employment that was a possibility, right?
That's exactly it.
So
and that's the thing.
You're going to be confined.
Yeah,
it's plain and simple. And this happened, when we won the cup in 2011. One of the things we did was when what Claude Julien did was when we were playing home games, he made everyone stay in the hotel and not contact their family because everyone was playing better on the road, and he was trying to better simulate that road, hungriness, that road, like that primal feral thing that you get going on when you're on the road.
Yeah,
that could happen. He had every right to do that with the contract, right? So shit like this can happen anyways. If you got a bunch of guys that are going out getting hammered and fucking up, what does the coach do? What does management do? Yeah. They lock everybody in a hotel. So this could have happened anyways. Yeah. I don't think it's that big of a deal, honestly. These are kids that are making 600 to millions a year. What's the minimum? What is it? 975 now, actually, in the NHL.
Yeah, maybe it's gone up. Yeah. It's gone up. I mean, it's interesting as far as that's concerned. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good. I mean, in terms of mental health, like I get it. Like it sucks. Like you want to go do something. For those periods of time where I'm like, man, I gotta go to a bar. I'm not a big bar guy anymore. Like I just gotta go to a bar and do it. But I couldn't. So what did I do? Sat out back, had a beer. Right. These kids are gonna be fine. They're gonna be fine. Yeah.
They get to do they have the best job in the world. They play a fucking game for a living. You know what I mean? Like that's not lost on them. They understand. They have buddies that they played with at every period of their life that aren't doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's like they understand how fortunate they are, and that it comes with sacrifices. You're going to be on the road. You're going to be missing birthdays and Christmas and all this other shit. You have some kids. It's a tough lifestyle.
Yeah.
But the reward that comes out of it is immense, and and I really do applaud the boys in the NHL there, and the guys and girls that make it happen, because they're doing the best with what they can. With what they have, and it's been a good product. And I've been on this show very critical of this NHL season.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm big enough to say it. They put out a hell of a product this season.
They really have. They really have.
They're doing something right. Is my point.
That's exactly it. Like I don't think I've seen like hockey's grown within this season, and I think it's just because.
Oh yeah.
Like people are there and they're super interested in the storylines, and you're igniting old rivalries again and having new rivalries come out. So it's awesome. Absolutely. I think you're right about Brad. Once the Kraken are in, he's going to hate the Canucks, and he's going to hate them.
Oh yeah, he's going to be. He's such a Seattle dude. Like he's so proud of his sports, and he's got a lot of pride in where he comes from and stuff like that he's not going to be able to help himself. He's going to be the biggest NHL flag waver come next season, I think. Yeah. I can't wait to see it, because he's just going to be like, because right now he's like, whenever we talk NHL, he's like, oh. And now he's going to have a fucking raging hard-on to talk about the Kraken.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, greatest sport, I think, really. I mean, I love football. Don't get me wrong, right? I mean, I grew up in Canada, though, so of course hockey is still my first love. But I'm just happy.
I thought I was your first love.
Oh, Reed, you're up there, buddy. So the draft, as far as the OH, like with the NHL coming out there, I still think it's going to be interesting. But I don't think it's any different than what the NFL is going through right now. Because I don't. Yeah,
I don't think it'll be that bad for the scouts, right? These scouts, they have other ways of, it's different sport to sport. But you look at the NHL, they put a lot of credence on who they're going to draft, who's going to go first overall, on personality and accountability, ownership, like all these kind of soft skills that don't necessarily directly translate to more goals. But you understand that you can have a long, the NHL is very good having a lot of guys in the first round, spend a long time in the career, right? Like have long, illustrious careers. We were talking about this in the NFL. It's quite the opposite, right? Because I think they spend less time doing, they use that Wasserman score or whatever the fuck it is to determine, will this guy be a suitable, player in the NFL? Whereas the NHL, they spend time with these kids. They interview them for longer. They really want to get to know them. They want to get their personality. All of these guys are talented that are getting into the draft. Yeah. You got to find somebody that's going to be, have the soft interpersonal skills, right? Does he have a good work ethic? Does he take his parents' trash out every night for, like shit like that? And that's really the bulk of their work. By the time these kids get to the OHL and the WHL, QMJHL, all these different leagues there, it's already kind of set in stone. You know, you already kind of know what you're dealing with. You know, that's with how young these players are starting to develop and bloom. You already kind of have a good idea. Nobody walks into any of those leagues and then everyone's like, I don't know, we're like, oh shit, where did this guy come from? It very rarely happens. They already have a book on these kids by the time they get to that point. So 1 year off, 2 years off, I don't think it's a big deal. And they'll be able to hold different things like private workouts, private sessions on the ice, stuff like that to really get a feel for that stuff. You can teach a kid to, you know, deke dangle or whatever, you know. But I think the NHL really puts a lot more focus, the scouts put a lot more focus on the interpersonal skills and like character makeup type stuff.
Yeah, like I'm just trying to think about a pick that went horribly wrong. And the last one I could think of was Neil Yakupov. That's like the last one I could really think of in the NHL.
Yeah.
Well, you can miss.
I don't think it went horribly wrong. I think it was a dud.
Yeah.
You know, I think Neil Yakupov was a dud.
Yeah. You know, I mean, in the NFL, it can go terrible. You know, like you can be remembered for, like Ryan Leaf. You know what I mean? You could be remembered for.
Oh yeah.
And it takes such a long time in order to get around that.
Yeah, DeMarcus Russell too. Same deal.
Wow. Yeah. So funny.
Yeah.
Jakub Voracek there. He played the same time. Our guest last week there, Anton Manson, played in the QMJHL, and he played against Jakub Voracek there. He was on the Halifax Moosehead, and he instigated.
I'd hate to have that assignment.
Dude, he instigated a bench brawl against the Moosehead. Oh, okay. I gotta tell you this because this is hilarious, buddy. This is hilarious. So last week,
let's hear.
So last week, our guest his last name was Manson, Anton Manson. He has a brother, it's Tristan Manson, and a third brother, it's also a Manson. They're all fighters, right? So they all played in the Q. They all fight. So I'm like, hey, man, you guys are like the Hanson brothers, but you're just the Manson brothers, right? Now, here's the thing. So Brad goes, yeah, do you like being compared to the Hanson brothers? He goes, is it the first time? He goes, no, not the first time. It happens a lot, right?
Yep.
And Brad's like, So I ended up talking to Brad after. I go, you don't even know who the Hanson brothers are. He goes, yeah, I do. I go, you do? And he goes, yeah, it's those guys that sang Mbop. He goes, I was wondering why he wasn't so upset. I go, that's not the guys who sang Mbop. It's Slapshot, right? And he goes,
Brad, you sweet summer child.
I'm trying 3 different independent breweries here in Nova Scotia. This one here, though, this Uncle Leo's.
What was the first one you did?
The first one was great. 9 Locks Porter. No complaints. I can't complain about it. Very good. This Uncle Leo smoked porter, it tastes like he just brewed this, and it tastes like cherry applewood as well with the porter. It's really good.
Very nice. Yeah, I love a good smoked porter.
Mm-hmm. Oh, very good, Uncle Leo. That. I like it. Uncle Leo's. Just thinking about Seinfeld now.
Gary, you never call. She's on a very tight budget.
Why'd you go cash those checks, Jerry?
You need the money. You call me.
Oh my gosh!
One of my favorite Seinfeld characters of all time, Uncle Leo.
Uncle Leo, he was great. He was great.
Yeah,
what are you drinking?
He's one of my favorites.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking. Cloud Candy from Mighty Squirrel Brewing here in Massachusetts.
Nice.
It is a double dry hopped New England style IPA, so nice and hazy, juicy, all that good characteristic. It's kind of a surprisingly quick finish on it, so it's not like too overbearing or anything like that. I like it a lot. You know, it's a pretty beer, very pretty beer, especially when the sun's out.
So we got a place here called Tanamagouche. Tanamagouche. So I'm going to be trying this beer later there. Tanamagouche, the Hippy Dippy.
All right, I like it.
Hippy Dippy Pale Ale.
Okay.
So that'll be the last one there to go. Yeah. And I want to give a shout out to Flyers right now. Hey, Flyers out in Oak Harbor, Washington, out in Route 20. Keep
Miss
going.
That fucking place.
I know. I know. You know what? You can't fix anything about like the NHL. Hopefully, that when they get the Kraken, he might just not have any more Philadelphia Flyers stuff up there on the stuff. I remember when he had the Eric Lindros jersey up there, and I'm like, come on, man. They're not even a storied franchise. 2 Stanley Cups. Bobby Clark. That's all you got.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No front teeth.
Am I wrong on that?
Yeah.
No front teeth. That's right.
Yeah, it was the Broad Street Bullies or bust for Philly. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they had great players over the years. I think the team that Philadelphia's put in the ice the past decade or so is more reminiscent of the Broad Street Bullies than we've seen in decades. You know what I mean? Like with Claude Giroux out there, like I think he's got a little Bobby Clark in him. You know what I mean? He plays with an edge.
Yeah.
He's missing some teeth. You know, he carries the team on his shoulders sometimes. You know, Jeka Voracek. I like when they had Radko Gudas there.
Yeah.
Is he still there?
That our hockey teams, on any one of our base teams or anywhere, I think that they could take on most other countries' hockey teams. You know what I'm saying? It's like
National teams, 100%.
Yeah, like Japan, or
100%.
you know, like our team could easily school your national team. You know,
My national team?
no, not the United States. Not
Okay,
you know,
you better-
yeah.
better calm the fuck down.
Take it easy. Take
All
it
right.
easy.
Whoa.
Take it easy now.
We got my feathers all ruffled.
Yeah. I'm not saying Russia, I'm not saying the US, and I'm not saying Canada, but I'm talking about, you know, like Belarus, Germany.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Yeah. The NFL is still going on with the way that they do the draft, with the interviews, I mean, you got to do the combine. The combine's in any professional sport, right?
The combine doesn't mean dick.
I know.
I'm gonna say it.
I know. Tom Brady.
I couldn't care less about the combine, unfortunately. I wish I did. I liked when that dude's dick popped out. That was pretty awesome. What a piece. I don't remember who it was, but I was watching the game and I don't remember who was commentating either, but they brought it up and I was just like, nice.
I gotta watch this.
I saw that live. I happen to have the combine on and I was just like, the gods are good.
You know that's like roulette.
It was like a baby elephant falling down. It was like, holy shit.
All right. So, oh my God, you're killing me. You know, we're talking about the NFL draft. You got the pro day, which is basically it is just a scripted do this. You know what I mean?
I wish they changed that up because that should be so much better. If they were more off the cuff and candid, I think it would be a much more enjoyable experience. But everyone's so afraid of the climate right now. Someone's saying the wrong thing, and I get it. You don't want to set these kids up for failure, you know. But fuck, they all have Twitter, so you know, just let them say what they're gonna say.
Yeah, like what I don't get as far as like these pro days, everything like that. Even setting up a team, okay? So forget about drafting, but you're trying to build a team. You can't make a trade halfway through in the season like you can in the NHL and just have an impact, or you can in the NBA and have an impact. It's like you need the right fit for that team, for that coach, for the playbook, for everything like that. Like it's the most complex thing I've ever seen, because you cannot just assume that I got this quarterback and I got this wide receiver, therefore we're going to end up running this ball or doing this or passing the ball all the time and just making certain that we're going to end up smashing you. There's so many different things that end up happening. It doesn't matter. You could be a great player. You end up going to a team that you just don't understand the playbook right in the middle of the season. You can't understand it. You could be a great prospect, and if you can't understand the playbook, it's just not going to happen for you. And then you end up going to somebody that's a little bit more patient and they could build you, like Sam Darnold going to the Jets originally. So what's your thoughts on that? Nice.
So, you know, I've always said and always firmly believed football is chess. Hockey, basketball, those are ping pong, right? Or table tennis.
Oh my God, that is such a great analogy.
Football is chess. You have to understand every piece and how it fits within the board and the other pieces on the table, on the board. Whereas like hockey, you know, why you have such an immediate impact when you bring somebody in is it's so dynamic and quick and fast, and you don't need an identity as bad as you do in the NFL. The NFL, it starts with the GM or the coach or both. If you have a GM who's wearing a coach / GM who's wearing both hats, you need to set the identity for that team, because that's really what's going to determine if a player fits. That has to happen, right? You can't just sit there and say, you can take an all-star team, right, and stick them all together. They're not going to be nearly as productive as a team that's organic and has a unified, one team, one fight mentality, and they're all on the same page. You can kind of do that with hockey. You can have an immediate impact and wait for the guy to grow into the position, right? But the NFL, you really have to spend a lot of time with these young men and make sure that they're going to be a great fit for the team. Like skill positions, defensive positions, whatever. They all have to be in unison. It's like watching. You ever see drum corps? The guys that play the drums all together in unison.
Yeah.
They have to drill for hours and hours and hours. And these college programs, they spend a lot of time digging into your personality to make sure you're going to be a good fit. They'll pass over a guy or gal who's maybe the best because it's just not a right fit. And that's what you see in the NFL, where it's like the player doesn't determine who's going to go first. Whoever the team is that has that first pick determines who's going to go first. You can't just take anybody. You have to sit there and say, this is what we need right now. This is what our number one need is. We cannot, without a doubt, surpass this. And you'll see teams that'll grab somebody who's just clearly the number one in the draft class, and then trade them, a season or two or three later,
or immediately,
or immediately before they even pick. Sometimes, because it really depends on it's the ultimate team sport. There's not another sport like it where it has to be. It's truly a team sport, and you see it game in and game out, week in and week out, and you see these organizations like the Jets that don't have an identity. When Rex Ryan was there, right, for all their faults, for all the issues they had a fucking identity. And he drove that. And you look at New Orleans, Sean Payton, they have an identity down there, right? Jacksonville doesn't have that identity yet. And that's why you see the issues they had, despite all the fucking talent they have on that team.
Buffalo has an identity because of Sean McDermott.
Sean McDermott. Bill Burr. He's given that team an identity, and that's what he expects of everybody, and everyone has to buy into that. There's not a team sport in the world that has to require this much buy-in. And
I'm sitting there, and I just heard what you said, and I think you hit the nail right on the head when you just said that, because it's so true. It's not so much that you're picking the best player as much as the best player that's going to make a difference within your organization. It's wow.
Yeah, I mean,
dude, are you in your second cigar? Are you in your second cigar?
Yeah, I'm doing two.
You're a killer. You're a killer.
It's a beautiful Saturday. But like this isn't just a football thing though. Like I went through this. I've changed organizations that I've worked for. Twice now, 3 times in the past 3 years, pretty much, 2 years, and whenever I go somewhere, I don't care about, the resources they have or the benefits or the pay necessarily. Is it a good fit? You know what I mean? Is this going to be a good fit for me? Because I know I'm going to be overworked. I know I'm going to be asked to go above and beyond. Do I want to put out for these people? The players have to ask themselves that question. They don't get a lot of say in it because they don't get to choose which team takes them, right? But I have that luxury over a kid going into the NFL draft. But, the organization really does have to look at, do I want to spend 12 hours a day with this young man? Yeah. Do I want them wearing my jersey? Because we're seeing all the nastiness and stuff that happens. Do we want our organization dragged through the mud?
This season, I mean, it's like this upcoming season with all the allegations against Deshaun Watson. Yeah, absolutely. It's sad. It's sad to see this, but it's unfortunately you're right. You're right about that. I don't want to go too far into that. It's the draft. We're talking about the draft. This is what the draft is about. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
That should be if it's not number one for the organization, for the decision makers going into that draft, then you're going to see the problems, which is what you see time and time again. There's organizations out there, I could just drop the names and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Michael Vick, right away. I mean, when you think about that, that was just a very sad circumstance that he's killing dogs there in dog fights. Man was talented, but you know what? The NFL did the right thing. I'm glad that he had a chance in order to come back and play in Philadelphia, and ended up, a little bit of a reconciliation and coming back from story.
He grew as a person, and you know what? He did his time. He paid his time to society down here.
Yeah,
that's a big thing that's lost in a lot of people in my country, right? Where it's like, somebody who's an ex-con, they treat him like shit. Like, this guy went to jail. He did his time like a fucking man. Yeah. Came back, climbed and scratched and clawed to get back into that position. Got into that position, and he was actionable. He was serviceable. It wasn't lights out. It wasn't vintage Michael Vick by any stretch of the imagination.
He was an MVP. He was an MVP candidate, if not winning the MVP for Philadelphia 100%. That one season. So I mean, he 100%. Came back, and I think that he actually did well coming back.
For a guy to overcome what he overcame, I think that was a good draft pick by the Falcons back in the day.
Oh yeah,
that's a man with character, right? Like I love dogs. I don't know the story enough. I don't know how his level of involvement. I don't know if he was just bankrolling the situation or he was just giving his buddies money and that's what they decided to do with it. Whatever.
Nevertheless,
we saw the permutation that he went through.
Yeah,
and it was fantastic to see.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I have no trouble saying that's a man of character right there. I couldn't come back from shit like that. I would disappear. You know what I mean? Like, I would 100% just be like, I've already made all my money. Fuck this. I'm out of here.
Yeah. I hear that.
And Roethlisberger, same thing. You can say the same thing about Roethlisberger. To get the accusations thrown at him that he has. Just sit there and just keep doing what he's doing. Being a name in the league for that long.
Yeah.
Gotta give him props for that. It's a hard job.
Yeah. I just don't think Pittsburgh is at the same standard that they were. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised though. Like I was hearing he's a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan, but he feels that they're going to make a push for Justin Fields. It's not a bad idea if he's still on the draft board. You're going to have to probably trade up to get him, because I don't think he's going down to where you are. He's too much of a talent. Yeah. Although, did you hear about that? Did you hear about that he has epilepsy?
Pittsburgh's got
Justin Fields has epilepsy. Yeah, he had to end up coming out with that.
You said apoplepsy the first time.
Oh, did I? No. It's epilepsy. I'm sorry. It's the beer. Yeah, he had to end up because I think he had a medical check over and everything like that. It ended up coming out that he has epilepsy.
All right, so no flash photography when he's playing. Fine.
Yeah, that's basically. Of course. Thank you.
Well, it's not vertigo or something. You know what I mean? Like that's weird shit that can fuck up your equilibrium.
Yeah, but I mean, I just don't see him sticking around that long to be picked up by Pittsburgh.
Dude, yeah, I don't think he's going to fall that far. And frankly, what I was going to say earlier was like, I think Pittsburgh's fine. I think you can continue rolling Roethlisberger out there for another couple of seasons and wait for a guy. So who gives a shit? He doesn't seem to notice. Was he ever like? It's the same thing with Tom Brady. Was Tom Brady ever particularly fast or athletic? No,
but he.
So what do you have to lose?
Yeah, he was able to make the right play at the right time, though. That's
Roethlisberger extends plays in ways that Roethlisberger does, unlike Russell Wilson, who extends plays, or Lamar Jackson, or fucking Deshaun Watson. They extend plays in a way that requires athleticism and speed and maneuverability. Roethlisberger's never had that. He really does. Like his entire career, he's really never had anything to lose. You lose a little bit of arm speed, you're making up for that with IQ as you spend more time in the league. And Tomlin's done a great job of surrounding himself with real offensive threats that you're not so much concerned about, what Roethlisberger's doing. You're not going to take that tank down anyways. You're more concerned trying to cover these fucking super athletes they got down there running routes. And then you get a guy like James Conner in the backfield.
I think Conner's gone. Conner's gone now. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. They'll find another jerk to fill in that spot. Connor's a good kid. Bought his house, his mother a house. Like him.
Yeah. I'm there and just going to myself, okay, so, what use is the scouts then? If that's the case, that you can end up not having to watch these players, not having to do anything like that. You just do some interviews in the combine. What's the use of the scout?
That's the scout's job, is to make sure, these guys are protected. They're going to have faux pas. Joe Mixon knocked that chick out in a pizza parlor, right? Remember that?
Yep.
That was hard to watch.
Yep.
It's like, fuck. And the level of talent he had exceeded the liability that you have with a guy like that. And he went where he went. But the scouts are going to do the digging. They're going to turn over the stones and the plants, look under the rocks and plants, and try to find all those character flaws. I think that's really what a scout's going to do, is protect the organization, number one. I would be surprised if a scout's number one job was to make sure that this guy's not a fucking pedophile, a rapist, a woman beater, stuff like that. Because those are
does it work the same with the NHL or the Major League Baseball as well? Because what we're talking about with NFL, I understand, but do you think it works the same way with them?
Look at Patrick Kane. He's had accusations of sexual assault.
Damn, I forgot about that, man. Yeah, you're right.
NHL fandom is a little different. It doesn't get the same popularity. It doesn't get to catch the same heat. But there's plenty of players in the NHL. I guarantee you that if they were a more popular organization, you'd see a lot more heat being thrown their way. And I wouldn't be surprised.
Chicago's a popular organization, though. I mean, Vince Vaughn is also, huge fan. It's like
Vince Vaughn isn't the biggest actor in Hollywood. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
if you had to do a top 100 today, I don't think Vince Vaughn would even be on that list. You got to put it in perspective. Like, honestly, right. I love Vince Vaughn. He's one of my favorites, but
right,
he's no one's taking pictures of him at the Oscars. There, no one gives a shit.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is.
Well, here's the thing, though. Drake showed up to a playoff game with us there against Boston. Yeah, and we asked him
that kid is the Black Widow. He's just like whoever he attaches himself to, you're just like, fuck. Oh man, he's a goddamn jinx. He needs to get back in that fucking wheelchair in Degrassi High there.
Oh my God, I can't believe you just brought that up.
How could you not? You want to talk about it smelling like bitch in here? Drake smells like bitch.
Oh my gosh! I mean, the thing is that okay, so a lot of people like his music and all that good stuff, but you're right. He is such bad luck. Apparently, I think Kentucky won't even invite him down anymore because he showed up. It's like,
why would you?
Please.
And you know what? When was the last time? When was the last time Drake had a hit? You know what I mean? Like, he's a fuck.
Oh, I don't know. It's been a while, man.
He's too busy, looking like, LeBron's little brother to really even pay attention.
He just did a commercial there with the State Farm commercial.
Yeah, he's the State Farm guy now. Get your money, man. Whatever you got to do.
You're there with Aaron Rodgers. You're there with all. But I mean, still yet. Was it Patrick Mahomes? Yeah. I mean, you still try to stay relative. You know what I mean? You stay
relevant, yeah.
Yeah, relevant.
He's doing what he can. I don't know. I think Nationwide's got him beat no matter what they can do because Peyton Manning. I'll watch the shit out of a Peyton Manning commercial every time.
Well, now he's doing those Tide ones there, where he's in the robot there.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh no! Yeah, it's hilarious. He's like in this thing where it's just his head is a TV, and
his head's as big as a TV. So that's fitting. Must have been a pretty big fucking TV.
No, man, it was on a Segway. The TV's on a Segway, just rolling around, right? So
must have been a some kind of souped up Segway to carry around the TV that big to handle that much Peyton Manning head. You look at a guy with a head that big. I thought he was an alcoholic for years. I was like, oh, he's gonna get a DUI or something. He's like, he doesn't even drink. It's
Wait,
like,
you thought Archie Manning might have been an alcoholic because that's
I
why
thought-
his
I
head's so
thought-
big?
Yeah, I thought Peyton Manning was an
Oh,
alcoholic.
you thought?
You know, when you drink, your head gets big. You know, like a big nose, big face, big head. Look at my head. I got a big head. Yeah.
I just thought it was because you were intelligent, though, man.
No.
See, look at this. I'm trying to build you up, and you're knocking your own self down. I don't understand that, but you'll knock me down in like a heartbeat.
I'm taking you down with me, son of a bitch. I'm taking everybody down with me. I'm not playing at your level. I'm playing at my level.
Mm.
Some Sun Tzu for you.
Oh my gosh.
For you.
Oh my gosh. So
Speaking of Sun Tzu, Mortal Kombat. Have you seen it yet?
no, I haven't. I'm gonna wait. Yeah.
Shame on you. What are you
Dude,
waiting for?
I watched the original. Why do I need to watch this remake?
Because the remake was fucking awesome.
Oh, I watched Godzilla, the new Godzilla versus Kong movie.
Millie Bobby Brown sucks. I don't know why they keep
I
putting her in
know,
those movies. She's the worst.
And I watched Nobody, which I have to admit that was a great movie, by the way.
Haven't
was-
seen it yet. It's on my list.
Was
love Bob
not
Odenkirk.
expecting that. Was not expecting that by who's the actor there and What About Saul?
Bob Odenkirk.
Oh yeah, Bob Odenkirk. Was not expecting that from him. Not at all.
Well, you know,
No way.
He surprised me in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
He's had a couple of these roles where you're like, huh? Because he was Mr. Show with Bob and David back in the day. Him and David
Well,
Cross.
do you remember him? Do you remember him in Seinfeld? Where he
Yeah, of
was
course.
like, yeah, he was like,
Yeah.
I always knew I was gonna leave the first girlfirend I was with who got me
Yeah,
through
he was
medical
the guy
school.
about to be a doctor. Yeah, hey, he's brilliant.
Yeah. And he was a writer at Saturday Night Live. So, you know, it was just like,
That was him and Conan were roommates in the writers' room together. They had the same room.
brilliant minds. Because Conan,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not only did he have his own talk show, but he ended
The
up writing.
Simpsons
Yeah, exactly. And some of
wrote
the
and
best,
produced the best episodes of The Simpsons.
some of the
season.
best episodes for The Simpsons.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
wrote and produced those ones. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and Bob Odenkirk, amazing writing as well. And so when you saw him act in Better Call Saul, it was like, okay, you know, like I see him as that kind of character, but here he is, he's kicking ass, taking names. I'm like, I didn't see that, but it fits. You know, the same thing
Oh,
with
that was
Keanu
like
Reeves.
that was like Michael Caine and Harry Brown. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
my
you're just
god, that was such a good movie.
Like what the fuck?
It's
You
like,
know,
Alfred, what are you
Caine-
doing?
Yeah, he's usually the wisdom guy. You know, I know he had some action roles back in his early career in the
But
70s.
that's a
and
long
60s.
time ago. Exactly. Yeah.
But you know, an old man just out there cleaning up the streets. You know,
Who was it there? Brian Dennehy. I remember there was a movie that he
And
did.
Dennehy.
He was a World War II veteran,
yep.
and he ended up. This is like I think in the late '80s, early '90s. It was around the same time he did a movie with Cuba Gooding Jr. and the other guy there, where he was like doing a bare knuckle boxing movie.
Yeah, I remember that. I think
You
it
know
was
what
called
I'm
The Boxer.
I think so, something like that. And it was a good movie. It was a good movie. You know, man, it's amazing to see some of the movies that came out then, and now I'm sitting there, and I literally, you want me to watch what? Like you're telling me about Mortal Kombat? I'm like,
That,
come on.
first of all, that was action. That was action porn. It was funny.
Get over here.
The guy that played Kano was hilarious. The Aussie cat there, he was hilarious. It was a very enjoyable for what it was.
Hey, listen,
don't go-
the Highlander
don't go into
was
it-
Raiden.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, just in this one, they actually got an Asian guy for Raiden, so it made more sense. You know,
I'll give you
you
that.
know, don't go into it expecting art. You know, go in there to expect to be entertained, and you'll have a fucking blast.
Yeah.
I watched it in the middle of the day, stone sober. You know, I didn't even alter my conscience to watch it, and I had a fucking blast.
Wow. I'm waiting right now to watch that Black Widow movie. I've been watching the Winter Soldier and Falcon thing, and I've been
Oh yeah,
loving that.
love that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
a great show.
Dude, I don't even understand. Like when you look at some of these Marvel or even DC, dude, when I saw the Justice League, the new one that they
Snyder
came
Cut?
out with,
Yeah,
my God, it's like, why
Finally.
didn't that come out? Why didn't that come out in the theaters? Because
well, Snyder's daughter killed herself, so that was the thing. Joss Whedon stepped in.
Oh man. because that movie, that's sad. That's sad to hear that.
Yeah.
That movie, I think, would have, because to me, DC is much darker than Marvel. Marvel's just like, sun pop and lollipops and sunshine and blah, blah, blah.
What? I'm sorry. What? All right. So this is a common thing that I hear constantly. I'm a bit of a comic book nerd. I'm actually a big comic book nerd.
Yeah.
And that is completely false.
No, I find DC to be dark. When I want serious talk,
hold on.
Superman having the power to end up ending our life, and you're going to tell me that some stupid, I'm Iron Man and I died. Who cares? Who cares? Superman killing Joker? Superman going up against Batman? Batman knowing the weakness of everybody? No.
Are you done yet?
Hardly, but I'll let you speak.
All right, I'll stick to the MCU, the movies, because I know you're not a big comic book guy. Thanos throwing his favorite daughter off of that cliff.
It was dark, but it's no justice.
There's an insane amount of darkness in these movies. You just have so much camp. You have so much camp in them that it seems lighter. But there's a lot of dark themes here. Like there's an insane amount of dark themes here.
Dude, if you have a look at Superman, just losing it at the sight of Lois Lane dying. I'm sorry, man. There's nothing like that. The most powerful and the most recognizable hero now becoming the greatest villain.
Listen, Man of Steel, when he killed Captain Zod, there played by Michael Shannon.
Yeah.
Right. When he's in there and he's like, if you love them so much, watch them die. And he's about to laser these people in the thing. And then Superman just goes, "Rah!" and runs his neck. I agree. Right. I agree. The DC is darker and edgier. It always has been. Have you seen Titans yet? The Titans series?
Yes, I have.
Great. All right. In the beginning, Dick Grayson rubbing that guy's face against the brick wall, and you see the ear hanging there, and they're like, "Oh, where's Batman?" And then he just turns around to kill all these dudes. He's like, "Fuck Batman." And it's like, oh shit. I agree 100%. Go watch. The DCU movies have done a good job of capturing that. Like those nightmares he had of this draconian future. At the hands of Superman, he's just like, I gotta fucking kill this guy. That was the whole Dawn of Justice storyline. You know, most people didn't understand why does Batman hate Superman. The movie didn't do a great job of making it digestible for everybody. But like, what would you do if you were Earth's true greatest hero, which is Batman, Earth's true greatest hero in the DC universe, Earth's true greatest hero, and you saw an extraterrestrial superpower, the level of Superman, you're sitting there at any cost. You're like, I have to get rid of this because his visions don't align with that of someone terrestrial like myself. Yeah. That there's a lot there, and you're dealing with like, a mountain of shit to try to get past it, but. Marvel has plenty of their own. There's a lot of dark themes, especially when you get on the X-Men side of the house too.
Oh, X-Men. Hey, Smooth My Balls, our new sponsors there. I'm pretty happy with that. There, I'm waiting for my whole entire kit there. Give a review on it, but from what I understand, who's more excited about this kit coming? You or Joanna? It's 50-50, I think.
I imagine it is I don't know, what's a native bush in India? Like what is a native bush in India? You guys got dogwood out there? Like what is it? I know you guys grow a lot of cotton, so there's probably a lot of that going on down there.
You like my beard?
Just put it down a couple of feet, and it's the same thing. Jesus Christ! All right. I asked for the visual, and I got it. No, there you go. Not happy about it anymore. I wish I didn't.
It's got a no pull technology. I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah.
Kids these days, with companies like Smooth My Balls, they don't realize how lucky they are these days.
No, I remember. You remember when people would be asking in the military, especially, "Hey, can I borrow your clippers? Are you going to be using it on your head?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You had to ask the question. You had to ask the question.
Oh. And the worst part was like, I used to use a razor, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I used to have to,
dude.
I used to have to pull my balls like like some silly
Are
putty
you
to
talking about
stretch it out.
a straight razor?
No, not a straight razor, you maniac. Like a Gillette. And then I'd have to go like this, and then pull another section and go like that.
Whoa!
Don't talk about smooth balls. Those were smooth balls.
Yeah, that's too.
18-year-old Reed had the smoothest.
That is so dangerous, man. I don't think these kids could do that now.
No. I could make it a challenge on TikTok, and they'd probably start doing it, though.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden they're dying because they nicked their freaking artery somewhere.
That's fine. There's no major arteries down there. The balls, like, have you ever seen a Shar-Pei, the dog of Shar-Pei?
Yeah.
Do you know why it has all those wrinkles?
Tell me. Fill me in.
For fighting. For fighting.
Really?
So if they get cut or something like that, they don't bleed as much as other breeds. And their organs are protected. The balls are the same way, Sean. It's got all those wrinkles to protect them.
Is that it? Because I'm pretty sure you get kicked in those balls, it hurts. And I'm pretty sure you nip
Go talk to somebody in Scotland, right? What's that thing they're wearing around their kilt? It's a bull sack, a testicle holder, and they put their prized possessions in there, as the bull did.
So there's this one dude I know from work, and like, on Civvy Fridays and stuff like that, he'll wear his kilt, right?
Of course.
And I saw him walking around though.
You guys can wear that part of the uniform up there, right?
Well, if you're certain military regiments, yeah. So he's walking around with his kilt and it blue. And I saw his underwear. I'm like, dude, you ain't for real? Yeah, right. He goes, listen, man, it's the military. I can't be walking around without any underwear on here. You know what I mean?
Well, to bring it back, maybe he didn't shave his balls. Maybe he was embarrassed.
I want to finish off with the UFC main event. They're coming up there tonight.
Dude, there's like, that card is so fucking stacked.
It's so stacked that if you have a look at the next UFCs, there's no more title fights for like a couple of them because they've been putting title fights.
You don't have enough titles.
Exactly. It's like
so many titles.
So Masvidal and Usman.
Usman.
Great fight.
Yeah.
We'll get in all of them. This was Namajunas against, is it Wei?
Holy shit. All right. First of all, you can just say Thug Rose. It's Namajunas.
Namajunas. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Thug Rose.
But that's still not even my favorite fight on the card. My favorite fight on the card right now, Valentina Shevchenko versus
Jessica Andrade. Man, she's a killer.
Jessica Andrade looks like Bieber if Bieber was a man.
Yes.
She fights like it too.
Yeah.
But Valentina Shevchenko, I don't think we've had a more technical champion in any division, male or female, since that can come close to Valentina Shevchenko. She is a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
She is perfect almost every time she steps in the octagon, and it's just terrifying to see. And Jessica Andrade is a fucking pit bull. So that's my fight of the night. Shevchenko.
I think you're right. I think you're right because it's like, to me, it's they're both scary individuals. Now, I think Masvidal and Usman, it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be
that's a big part of that is Masvidal is good at imposing his will, right? We talked about this earlier. Yeah. I'm not going to go to your level of fight. I'm going to bring you down to my level. That's what Masvidal does.
And don't forget the last time they fought, he only had 2 weeks notice or something, right? So
yeah, I think it was less than that.
Yeah. So now he's got a whole training camp. So I mean, it'd be interesting.
I think right now though, honestly, Usman's just at another level.
Yeah. I was watching something where they were talking about Usman, and they're saying that basically he's going to be a better welterweight champion than George St. Pierre.
Probably.
Oh man,
probably the level of talent that he's dealing with, which it's tough to say because I grew up on that stuff when I was a kid, so there's a lot of nostalgia and sentimental value there. But you look at a guy like Matt Hughes, who was really a wrestler, ground and pound, a slammy type guy. I think BJ Penn was, the most well-rounded we saw in the 170-pound division back in those days.
Yeah.
He was pretty avant-garde with his cross training.
And you had Dan Hardy. You had a few other guys that came up there. Josh Koscheck, who actually beat a few people as well in light heavyweight or middleweight. So
lay and pray. He did a lot of lay and pray. He was a very, very accomplished, very talented wrestler. But Usman doesn't have.
He doesn't have the same competition as far as I'm concerned in welterweight.
Usman?
Yeah. Who does he have? Masvidal.
Colby Covington.
Colby Covington. Oh my gosh! I can't believe you're actually bringing that name up.
Listen, Covington is a pud. He's an insincere pud. He saw the president. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get some of that," and he acted like a little fucking. He just attached to Trump's balls. I get it, but his talent is undeniable. His work ethic is undeniable. His output is undeniable. If you look at the numbers that Covington,
he beat LeBron James
in what, basketball?
No, in fighting.
Probably.
No way, man. LeBron is 6'8",
6'10".
LeBron just has to sit on it, man.
No, it wouldn't happen. Colby Covington would fuck him up. I hate Colby Covington. He would fuck him up. I love LeBron James. I hate Colby Covington. Colby Covington would fuck him up.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's Marcus Queensberry rules. Doesn't matter if it's the unified MMA rules. Colby Covington fucks him up. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. But Usman's dealing with Gilbert Burns. What he did to Gilbert Burns? You're gonna disrespect Gilbert Burns like that? Yeah. Jesus fuck.
But let's face it. These guys did not fight. They didn't fight. They didn't fight the same. Like here's my thing. I understand what you're stating. And maybe it's just the fact that I'm just I am biased.
You hate Usman.
No. I'm biased at George St. Pierre. And
you hate Nigerians. Let's hear it.
No, that is not it at all. Because the thing is that I don't know. Like Robbie Lawler held this title after.
It was a different time, though. It was a different time, and Robbie Lawler hit his prime. You're talking about a guy who was fighting since he was 17 years old professionally. Yeah. He hit his stride. He had all the experience in the world. He had hands of fucking stone, and he had a belief in himself that met or exceeded a Conor McGregor. You know what I mean? Like he had the things all kind of aligned, and he had the foresight and the afterthought of a very long career. And Robbie Lawler, that's why he did what he did when he did it, and that's why he's kind of wilted away now because he's over the hill and he's got a lot of fucking mileage on. Usman, you're dealing with who's the guy who's beat everybody.
Yeah, you're right. You know what?
Everybody.
I can't.
And he's beat them decisively.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, I agree with you as far as that's concerned. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to sit there and go, man, he can become the greatest welterweight, right? He can.
Sure, yeah. George St. Pierre was an era-defining athlete, which very rarely comes around. And you know what? You're going to remember George St. Pierre a lot longer than you're probably going to remember an Usman type because George St. Pierre had this aura about him. When watching him walk to the cage with the fucking headband on there and Karate the gi sometimes, and you're just seeing like a guy with the biggest head I've ever seen since Peyton Manning. And he sounds like a dog with peanut butter on the roof of his mouth. And really like personality, like he didn't have to do the things that like Conor McGregor had to do or Colby Covington had to do to make a name for himself. He did it 100% in the ring. And if you wanted to be a kickboxer, George St. Pierre would beat you as a kickboxer. If you wanted to be a wrestler, George St. Pierre would out wrestle you. If you wanted to be a submission guy, George St. Pierre would out submission wrestle you. He just went into every fight so prepared with a great game plan. But I will say this: it's the same conversation that you have with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick,
right?
Where you're like, who's responsible for the greatness here? Would George St. Pierre be great without Firas Zahabi? I'm not going to say no because I don't know. But the TriStar Gym and Firas Zahabi there, and their relationship with guys like the Danaher Death Squad and Mark Henry, like you see all the talent, like those guys are all linked. Like it's almost like there's an affiliation, with John Danaher, and as a result of that, Renzo Gracie, who's been fighting since he was 2. You know what I mean? Like, he's probably, in my opinion, the greatest Gracie of all time. And then you got Mark Henry, who produces all these super Frankie Edgar, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he George St. Pierre was able to run through those things all down friggin' 95.
But because
from Montreal all the way down to New Jersey.
Yeah. Exactly, because he was Canadian, he ended up having to like separate his training with all these different people and everything, and bring people up to Quebec to train them. You know what I mean? But he did it. You're absolutely correct. At a time when mixed martial arts schools were opening up all over the U.S., we didn't have anything in Canada, and he did it as a Canadian, never leaving Canada.
I don't think it was 100% him though. Is the problem?
No. But he
you know
was
what I mean? Like he had
correct.
He had something, and I'll give everyone some homework here. Listen to 2 podcasts, and I think each gentleman has been on the podcast twice, so this is actually 4. But Faraz Sahabi and John Danaher on Joe Rogan's podcast. Listen to those guys. They're both philosophy majors out of college. Philosophy majors, right? They're both like high level athletes, and there's something about the philosophical aspect of their teachings, right? To where you're dealing with somebody who was kind of like a Bruce Lee, put it in very digestible. Bruce Lee wasn't the smartest man in the world, but he just put things in such digestible ways that literally translates to any language very easily. Be like water, right? You can translate that to any fucking thing.
You're absolutely correct. And you're able to sit there, take it in, digest it, and go.
3 words.
Yeah.
3 words that you can take textbooks out of.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I could write a 1,000-page thesis on that, no problem. Be like water. Yeah. And that's what you get with Faraz Sahabi. And that's what George St. Pierre really benefited from, I think. I'm not, and again, I can't say it's one way or the other. I can't say George St. Pierre wouldn't be great if he was down in the American top team. Right. I think he would probably be fucking just as fantastic, maybe even a little bit better because they have a bigger pool of fighters to train with, right?
Right.
TriStar Gym, how many superstars have they produced, right?
After George St. Pierre, I mean, you have what's his face there from Victoria? He lost to Robbie Lawler, got his nose broke.
Well, you're already proving my point. You don't remember his name. You know what I mean? It's
hard to remember it. Yeah, but
produces a lot of fantastic fighters with great heads on the shoulders. So obviously, George St. Pierre is something incredibly special. Yeah. One of the best Instagram followers right now, too, in my opinion. I love seeing him out there challenging himself.
He's doing whatever he wants right now. He's having a great life. Good for him. Good for him.
And he's a guy that at any time, how long has he been retired? At any time, he could come in and be competitive. Whereas Conor McGregor, and I think Conor McGregor is great despite everything about Conor McGregor that I don't like. His whole showmanship thing is fucking annoying. Yeah. But George St. Pierre is a guy that at any time, I think he'll be able to do this for the next 6 years, where George St. Pierre at any time could come out of retirement, take the title, and then retire again as he did to Michael Bisping. Yeah. I think he could fight Usman and win.
Welterweight
easily. Yeah. And I think he can go to 185 and give it Israel Adesanya a real fucking go for the title. I'm not sure he wins, but there's everyone talks about 170. There's George St. Pierre fights I want to see at 185. I want to see him fight Robert Whittaker more than anything right now.
Yeah.
After that Whittaker fight against Kelvin Gastelum.
That was a great fight.
I want to see George St. Pierre fight Kelvin Gastelum.
Yeah.
Because Kelvin Gastelum's he's 170 pure, but he's up at 185 right now because he doesn't like losing weight. I get it. I'm a chubby fuck too. But I think George St. Pierre is a guy that's the mystique around George St. Pierre. He doesn't do a lot of talking. He doesn't shit talk a lot.
Yeah.
It doesn't work out well. But he's doing movies and shit now. He's in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier there.
That's right.
Reprising his role from Civil War.
Yeah, he showed up on a couple of commercials here in Canada. I mean, I have no respect for him. He's going out and making a little bit of coin for himself. Why not? He deserves it.
I do think that on paper, Usman will have the more illustrious career, just because he's able to enjoy the talent pool that he's dealing with right now.
I like that. You know what? That's a great analogy. A great. That's a great analytical look.
When Usman opens his mouth, I'm annoyed. He's either got a really bad chip on his shoulder or he's just insincere as fuck. Yeah. Because he says dumb shit. I'm just like, say less. Just look at a guy like George St. Pierre, who, again, he's not going to be a McGregor level celebrity, but he's got his integrity. George St. Pierre he never lost anything. He never sold himself out.
No,
he didn't have to do that. He never had to do that. He never felt like he had to do that. He would have made more money if he went out there. He's like, that guy is a stupid head. That guy over there, blah, 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 blah. He could have probably sold more tickets, but fuck, he's got his integrity. He's a man. He's got his fucking balls. And I hope they're smooth.
All right, before we go, I got a one-on-one question for you.
Sean's got to pee. Here we go. He's trying to wrap this up as quick as humanly possible. You tell me you don't have to pee, I watch you drink 3 beers.
Man, you're correct. Damn you, Reed. Anyways,
You're doing the dance, and you got your little party boy shirt on there. You look like Tom Cruise in Cocktail.
All right, who won out in the trade deadline, Boston or Toronto?
I'm very critical of Boston, but I like the Mike Riley signing a lot. Taylor Hall scoring goals.
What about Foligno? He showed up finally in his first game.
I know.
Great.
Yeah, Nick Foligno. I'm a huge Nick Foligno fan. I love that signing.
Great. He was playing. Put him on the first line. Put him
that
way
was the
out
guy.
there.
That was the guy that I wanted in Boston because he wouldn't have been on the first line because that first line you can't penetrate in Boston. He would have been fantastic on that second line though. They've given some grit, but yeah, I gotta say Toronto on that one.
You think
Foligno,
so? Right?
Yeah,
Even though
I think Toronto.
Rittich has been playing like there's a reason why Calgary got rid of their goaltenders.
Well, Rittich, you remember just a year or two ago, Rittich was lights out. You know what I mean? Like
he was, yeah, absolutely.
He might just be dealing with something. You know, that it's small little course. Goalies are tough. You can't really judge a team based off goalie additions.
It's amazing though because when I look at Boston, I look at Toronto. It was just like a mirror image of each other. They ended up just making trades to fill positions that they needed to get filled. It wasn't just one; it was multiple, and they filled them up pretty good. I think both organizations did. But really, what it comes down to, who's going to end up winning this? I mean, I think the only way it is if they meet each other in the conference finals there, and go from there. But
it's hard to have that conversation right now because Washington didn't make a big splash at the trade deadline.
No,
but the Capitals are fucking deep. They are deep.
Yes, but you are starting to see the wear and tear on them when they face the Islanders, when they face, like
I'm not buying it.
Your division,
not buying it.
Your division has got to be the Mass Mutual division. Has got to be the most
toughest.
Difficult. Yeah, because you got Tampa, you got Florida, you got the Islanders, you got the Capitals,
and that's what you're seeing. That's what you're seeing with the result of it right now. Everyone's kind of beat up and exhausted. You know what I mean? Like again, we talked about this in the chat.
Yeah.
For those who are not privy, I was getting on Sean's case because they're giving him shit about how many goals each division scored, and I was being insincere because the North Division is short a team, and Sean didn't pick up on it. He's not great with numbers. He's like Sean Smash. If you gave him an abacus, he would think it was like candy or something like that. It's one of his blind spots, but we love him for it. And but the thing is, like, when you only have 7 teams, there's less variability. You get more, you get a little more familiarity with the teams in your division. You're playing them more often, right? And the diversity factor, you get less diversity. It takes less of a toll on you. And I think that's good. I think they really did the North a disservice by not sticking an American team up there. Just whether it's I'm trying to think of a good American team to stick in the North Division.
There isn't one.
Geographically, like who would it be?
Geographically, Detroit. That's the only one I could think of.
Detroit would be perfect, yeah. Because they're just hopping across the pond there. They should have stuck one of those teams up there for the sake of the Canada Division, the North Division there, whatever the fucking corporate name is. I'm not even learning those. I think that would have been did them a much better service in the long term. But obviously that would have defeated the purpose of why we have these divisions the way they are, But
it's something to be said about the Mass Mutual division that people are talking about it like that's a murderer's row.
It's a blast furnace.
It is. There's so many good teams over there. Where in the West, you just could look at Colorado and Las Vegas. Ooh, like okay. And
if Colorado gets healthy, I think they can win a cup easily.
Absolutely, I totally agree.
They're playing without Mikko Rantanen right now. You know what I mean? Like they've had some COVID troubles, but and it might do them a solid, because they're obviously very talented. Not having a murderer's row of teams to play against, so they might be a little more rested and a little more game ready. They all know how to play playoff hockey,
Yeah.
There's no question about that.
I'm looking forward to the playoffs, buddy. It's
Dude,
gonna be so good.
I have to eat a little crow here. I'm gonna eat a little crow here. I was very critical of this.
Yes, you were.
This season. Okay, enjoy it, Sean. Enjoy it, because you're a fanboy and you're all over. You bit on it so hard. You didn't think twice about it. You were like, "Oh, here, give me some more, Bettman." Oh boy. I don't remember you being this big last year. Yeah, we get it, Sean.
Okay.
You're a Bettman nut rider. But I'm going to eat a little crow here.
I wonder if he's using to smooth my balls.
And I can say Bettman definitely smooths his balls. The way he's able to go out there and get booed, he's not having little pewies getting caught up in his underwear. Clearly. Like I'm doing constantly. He doesn't adjust. So either he's a Ken doll or he's got the smoothest balls in the building at a given time.
It's got to be comfortable.
Kids, if you want to get up to that level of in business like Bettman has, smooth your fucking balls. Good sponsor, Sean. But I think the East Division, there's two sides of the coin, right? They're going to be a little more beat up, probably a little more exhausted.
Yeah.
But they're probably going to be a little more game ready, because they faced an insane level of talent. Even Buffalo, how bad they're playing this season.
18-game losing streak, but they turned it around the past few games. They actually are starting to win some games, and they look.
Oh, and speaking of obnoxious hockey names, as we did the last time I was on, their goalie is probably the most hyped goaltender since Fleury made their debut last night. Do you know what his name is?
I forget. You're gonna have to tell me.
His first name is Uka-Pekka, and his last name is Luukkonen.
Luukkonen, that's right. Yeah.
So many fucking syllables. I'm pretty upset about it. But, he went out there and he took 40 shots, saved 36.
Hey, not bad.
And beat the Bruins. He kept him in there for his first NHL debut against the Bruins.
Let me tell you something. The Bruins look good with Riley, like you said, with Hall, with what they have there. So Bruins look good. They're rolling with. I think they ended up using their other backup goaltender for that game. It wasn't.
Halak.
Was it Halak? They brought
Halak.
up.
So Rask started the game last night, and then Halak came in relief because Rask pulled over fucking Rask and acted like a bitch.
Yeah, that's your biggest. That's your biggest question mark, really, going into these.
It's not a question mark, Sean. And people in Boston act like they see his regular season heroics, and they're like, "Oh, this is a guy that we can win with easily." Playoffs is a different thing. The NHL has parity. It's a different fucking sport. Come April, or this year, it's still April right now.
May 11th. May 11th.
Come May, it's a different fucking sport.
Yeah.
It's different, and Rask just isn't built for that. We have a long history of Rask in the playoffs, and it's not good.
Yeah.
So
no,
I'm terrified to have that guy. But Swayman looked great. The kid there that we brought up for a couple of games, he looked great. But the hockey's all about the playoffs. If you can't play in the fucking playoffs, that's why Halak's not starting in Montreal anymore. I remember Ovechkin went out there and on the news, and he's in a press conference. I still remember this clear as day, and he said he's scared. He's scared, like he's nervous and he's not ready for this. And Halak wasn't, and much to the behest of the Club du Hockey fans there, Carey Price came in,
Yeah.
And I can't fault them not being successful in the playoffs and Carey Price. I could on Halak, so that's what we're dealing with in Boston right now. So goaltending's a big question mark. It's not a question mark for me. I know what it is. But the question mark is, can our lines and our defensive pairings carry the team?
Yeah.
And I hope that's the case.
Man.
Toronto's sitting much prettier with their goaltending situation, in my opinion.
They are. It's pretty. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Can't complain.
You got to pee so bad.
I do.
Are you pretending Joe yelled at you from the other room? Is that what you're doing right now? What was that? Oh, I got to go, everybody. It's not your bladder yelling. It's your bladder yelling at you, Sean.
It is. Well, with that, Brad would usually say right now at this time is be good or be good at it. And we'll.
I'm gonna have my sign off. Knock 'em dead and don't get caught.
Oh, I like that. Another episode down in the books. Thanks, Reed, for coming on, buddy. I really couldn't imagine doing this without anybody else but you.
Oh, nobody wants to hear you talk by yourself, so
No.
somebody had to do it.
All right.
I'm really doing Brad the Slob more than anything else. I don't want him to come back to a fucking barn fire. Love you, Brad.
All right. We miss you, Brad. And Reed, thank you. You're the greatest to come on here in like last second, I tell you.
I do what I can.
All right. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.
You've listened to the podcast, but now it's time to visit us in our virtual sports bar. Get all of our info at guysbeersports.com, where you can find all the ways to connect with us. Watch for live conversations with Brad and Sean that happen throughout the week, and join in with your favorite local beer. You can share your thoughts in the conversation comments with your own uploaded videos, or even join us as a guest live commentator. The GBS Virtual Sports Bar is open for business. Come on in, boys and girls.